If you have one of these toys in your house, you need to remove it, and remove it now. A young teenage boy was in his little brother's room late one night, and as his little brother watched a movie, the young teenage boy played with the animated LED spinner and became hypnotized by it. It's said that he looked into this thing for more than 2 hours straight before putting it down and going to bed. But in the middle of the night, that young teenager headed down to the family's garage and grabbed the sledgehammer. As he walked back through the house, he bludgeoned his little brother and both of his parents to death as they slept, and then just took himself to bed. The next morning when he woke, he was horrified to find his whole family had been slaughtered as they slept. He quickly ran out of the house and waited for police, but it would be after a lengthy police interview that the boy would realise all of a sudden that he was the one that murdered his family. I killed them. I killed them all.
This is why you should always take your lockdown drills seriously. In 2017, two 16-year-olds were in their school bathroom when the lights suddenly went out and their school went into lockdown. Feeling rebellious, they decide, you know what, let's go explore the school a little bit first, and then we'll go follow procedure. They step out of the bathroom and look down the hall towards their classroom, and they see this large figure standing in front of their classrooms. It's definitely not a student, it's not a teacher. He's got ragged clothes on and he starts walking towards them. They dart right back into the bathroom to the corner stall where they hide, praying that that man didn't see them. The man bursts in and starts yanking open all the stalls. Not wanting to see what happens when he gets to their stall, they get on the ground and start crawling to the side of the room where they finally get up and make a run for the door. They look back and he's holding a gun. The boys manage to get away safely and no one's hurt, but the police never capture the ragged man.
Take his own life.
This is why you should always check the backseat of your car before you get in. On one cold night, a lady was coming home from work when she noticed that a car was following her from behind. To confirm her suspicion, she switched lanes, but the car followed. She turned left, and the car was still following her. She panicked and drove home faster, but the car was persistent. As soon as she got to her driveway, she jumped out and immediately ran towards her door. The stranger who was following her came out quickly and called out to her, telling her that he was there to help, and there was someone in the backseat of her car. The stranger then told her that there was no need to call the cops and he was going to help her apprehend the intruder, but she wasn't having any of it. And while she was still outside, she reached into her purse, grabbed her phone, her hands were shaking, and while she was about to dial 911, she dropped the phone. She quickly bent over to pick up the phone, and when she got up, the stranger was standing right in front of her. He knocked her out with a single blow to the head and dragged her into his car. If she had checked the backseat of her car prior to this, she would have known that the stranger was lying.
This story's called The Stare. A girl was sitting on a subway late one night and noticed that the woman sitting across from her was staring at her intently. The woman was sitting between two old men. The girl had to keep looking away as the woman wouldn't break eye contact with her, and the stare was beginning to freak her out. At the next stop, a new passenger got on. It was a tall man in a dark trench coat. He sat down next to the girl. The woman paid no attention to the man in the trench coat. She just kept staring at the girl that was getting more and more freaked out. And the two old men didn't even glance in her direction. When the train was pulling into the next stop, the man in the trench coat got up to leave. Suddenly, he grabbed the girl by the arm tightly as the doors opened and dragged her out of the train. The subway door shut and the train pulled away, leaving the girl alone on the platform with the man in the trench coat. She started to scream. "Calm down," the man said. "I just saved your life. I don't mean to scare you, but I had to get you off that train." The woman sitting opposite you was dead and the two men that were sitting beside her were propping her up.
This one might make you afraid to have a girlfriend. Haunted relationships. In 2012, a boy Nathan said his girlfriend died in a horrible car crash. They were dating for 5 years. He was struggling trying to get over it and was grieving for about 13 months when he got a Facebook message. It was from his dead girlfriend Emily. He thought it was her mom on her Facebook page, but it wasn't. A few more months, the conversations continued and she kept making references to the past relationship that they had that only they knew about. He started getting notifications of her on Facebook of her tagged in spaces that she should have been. He knew her Facebook passwords and changed them. And the messages and tags still kept coming. She would write weird messages like she's cold, she's freezing, and that she didn't know what was going on. To this day, he doesn't know if it was some type of sick joke or really a message from the dead. Give this video a thumbs up if you want more true scary stories.
This is the scary story about the crying. There was a man named Jeff who never got any sleep. Every night when he tried to go to sleep, his baby daughter always cried. Jeff tried to block out the crying by putting a pillow over his head, but it didn't work. Night after night, his daughter's crying never stopped. He didn't know how to stop it or what to do. It was driving him completely insane. Jeff then moved houses, hoping this would stop the baby from crying, but it didn't. Ever since Jeff killed his daughter, he hears her crying everywhere he goes, but he cannot escape it. It's been 3 years since he did it. And he still hears his baby crying the same way it was when he...